PE, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, he wouldn't have called a kid a fag for dropping the ball.
No.
My experience is still always won.
My high school PE experience was in mid-high, because I was at mid-high for a year before they switched to the North
that's right. That's right, because you're 2 years younger.
That's where I got a lot of fat shaming. And I wasn't even a fat kid. I was just bigger, but not... I think I weighed like 150 pounds in high school, which...
You weren't fat in high school.
Well, but I got fat shamed in PE all the time.
Wow.
By PE teachers. I was already struggling a lot because everyone, at home I had a lot of fat shaming, and then, but then I would go to PE, and like my strengths were, I was a really good sprinter, but not endurance. Couldn't do anything endurance-wise, but I could sprint like nobody's business. And lifting things that involved strength, but not endurance. But that's not what PE was ever about. It was about running the huff and puff. Remember?
Oh, that damn huff! Mr. Craig made me crutch the damn thing. Senior year, we're doing the huff and puff. I blow out my ankle, go up to block a spike in PE class against Reed Ritchie, come down on his foot. I'm in a cast. And he's like, you're going to have to make up all these huff and puffs when you're back. I'm like, I'm out for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's April. It's like, I want to graduate. I'm not going to not graduate because of the huff and puff.
Yeah.
So I crutched him. I'm like...
See, I don't want to run anywhere. I'll stand and fight.
I'm like...
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. You got me down on the huff and puff. That was the trigger word. Sorry.
Was that a mile?
Yeah, it was like a mile or a mile and a half around campus.
Yeah, and I they would be like, you can run it, and I'd be like, I'm not a runner.
That was Mr. Craig. Yeah.
And so I would try to run, but I remember one time I just flat out walked, and I would always come in last, because I'm not gonna, running is just not my thing. It never has been my thing, no matter how many times I've tried, it's just never going to be my thing. But I would walk it, and I was fine walking it. And then I always get about the same time, because if you're trying to run and then you have to take breaks to walk, but if you're just walking at a good clip. But I would always get shamed for walking. And then I remember one time I was so humiliated at the end of the huff and puff. He'd had the entire class wait to finish that last 100-yard stretch with me, which I'm sure he thought was really motivating, but it was humiliating. But how am I? How can you tell that to someone who's in charge of your grade, and also, embarrassed in front of your peers? That was humiliating.
Right.
So, yeah. I wish that PE had been more tailored to my strengths instead of just like this one-size-fits-all of ball games and endurance.
Being healthy is a bigger picture.
Oh, absolutely. And, phys ed has come a long way.
Oh, I'm sure.
Even though,
30 years.
Yeah, it's been 30 years. But even though the content has changed and the focus has changed, sadly, we still see a lot of the same behaviors, teacher behaviors, regarding some, the use of inappropriate use of humor, or just putting students down when, kind of sticking with that. I don't even want to call it locker room talk in this day and age of what locker room talk is now considered. But it's like, just like the guys yucking it up, and so it's been, there's still those situations, and it's not just the guys. I mean, I oversee student teachers and hear, some horror stories about just what any of the teachers do, male or female, and it's like, wow. And so part of this podcast is to address those issues as they pertain to the LGBT community, and how do we move forward and ensure that, we're being inclusive of the needs of our students, and especially, of all sizes, shapes, the whole bit, the whole gamut. But I want to talk to April a little bit. You talked a little bit about, the phys ed standpoint. Now, and I know being in Utah, your health experience may be different because the church might have more of a say on what gets taught with regard to sex ed.
They shouldn't, but they do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I figured they did.
Yeah.
And so, but how were your needs met or not met through your health class?
I mean, for one, I identify on the asexual spectrum as demisexual. I mean, they don't dare talk anything about, like, the different sexual and romantic spectrums. I had to learn all that from the internet.
Okay, I will have to learn all that from the internet, too, because honestly, I don't know any of that.
I have a flyer about what the different flags mean.
Oh, sweet, I'll take that.
I'll send it, yeah.
Oh.
It's a PDF, I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
Like, in Utah, they don't really give you, like, sex ed. They don't really talk too much about different protection. They just tell you...
They preach abstinence.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's just like, here's all the different organs. Here are charts for you to label of like, the different genitals. And here's how children are made. Good luck. Like, not that much taught. But I'm glad that, like, mental health was actually covered in my health classes. So that's how I started to learn, like, oh, hey, like... I think I have depression, and it turns out, like, I do. I've had chronic depression for years and years, but it was nice to, like, be in a junior high health class and to be able to start learning about that and, like, noticing that, like, oh, hey, this is something that's happening, and be able to start to, like, mitigate that. I mean, they don't really teach you, like, how to deal with depression or, like... how to, like, help a friend who has depression. It's just, this is what it is. But it was enough to at least, like, lead to Google searches that were able to then help me. So I'm grateful for that. I feel like that's a more recent thing, that mental health to be covered in a health class.
And so if you happen to hear that chuckle in the background at that inopportune time, that's just the kid in the background playing a game. So it wasn't anybody laughing at April's story. I just want to let y'all know that in case you're like, dude, who's rude?
It's a 10-year-old. They're all
It's YouTube with the strongest Kirby Amiibo? I don't know. It's a game.
I don't know. It's feral parenting around here.
Feral parenting. It's not even home free range. It's feral parenting.
It's completely feral.
Just do it. You forage for yourself, kid.
Yes. She knows how to cook whatever she wants.
Feral parenting. You should, like, make that a thing. Let's like hashtag that.
Feral parenting.
Yeah.
I'm really good at it.
I kind of think I grew up with feral parenting.
I'm much better at parenting young adults than I am minors. But also, young adults are also feral, so.
So, April, I mean, now you're 20? 21. Ooh, legal. When did you turn 21?
In May, but I was in Puerto Rico earlier this year, and the drinking age is 18 there, so it wasn't really a big whoop.
Well, the rum in Puerto Rico was a big whoop.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never had. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can buy, like, top shelf stuff there at Walmart for like $16. Wow. I'm like, it's insane. You didn't do that, did you? You buy your booze at Walmart in Puerto Rico.
I would go to CVS.
Oh, okay.
Because they have quite a bit
Okay. So you're 21.
Mm-hmm.
You graduated or did you graduate on? You ended up leaving high school, right, and then finishing online, or?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your how? Can you talk a little bit about how you how you left high school, and then just where you hope you might see PE or health move, progress to, like, I really hope it could be like this.
Yeah, so, like, at the beginning of my senior year, I came out to my parents as gay, and I told them that I had, I had read about the Mormon Church, which they raised me in, and they're very strongly, they're very, very strong believers was very extremely active in the Mormon Church, and I told them like I'd researched that like the Mormon Church doesn't have a very good history with how they've dealt and addressed gay people, and so I told them I don't think I want to be a part of this anymore. I want to explore other religions in the world, and I mean, naturally they got very, very mad, and and it was just too much for me trying to go to high school and also like deal with this huge issue in my life, and also coming out to my friends and like them hearing about that I was leaving like the Mormon Church. Like I just lost most of my friends, and I was finding it's like I can't do this anymore. And so I talked with my guidance counselor, and they were like, oh, well, like our district has an option that you can do this like online school to like get the rest of the credits you need if you feel like you can't like actually function in a typical school environment. So I did that, and I was able to graduate 4 months early, and I just disappeared. I didn't tell anybody that I was graduating early or what I was doing. One day I just wasn't there anymore, and they just didn't see me anymore. So I was like,
there you go.
Like, you decided that I'm the enemy because I'm gay, and so I'm just gonna leave without saying goodbye, and you don't get to be part of this life anymore. And what was your other question?
Well, so I think I may answer it. My other question was like, what would your hope be moving forward? And just listening to you talk about how you didn't feel safe in school to finish your high school career. I mean, everybody, growing up, people say high school's your best 4 years. I think my hope for our profession, would be that you would have your full 4 years in a safe, inclusive environment and be able to graduate with your friends in your class and be accepted for exactly who you are. Not tolerated, but truly accepted for who you are. And so, I didn't mean to steal your thunder by answering my own question, but I mean, it just really breaks my heart to think that there's kids that you've gone through this. I've taught students who have experienced this. There's thousands of kids in schools just in this area, I'm sure, but, across the country that don't feel safe. And we as teachers need to do a better job of putting our beliefs or our values system aside, or our religious beliefs, and just truly be the personification of what those beliefs are, and be inclusive and treat each one as we'd want to be treated. So. I know you guys are ready and probably passing notes like, dude, we want to go to Vegas.
Oh, no. And I want to go get gas. I'm like, well, go get gas now.
Yeah, and I need to get back on the road because I'm heading to Colorado.
Where are you going to be tonight?
So tonight, do you remember Molly Black from high school?
Yeah. So
we are slumber partying in Beaver Creek, freaking Colorado.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's really hilarious because, I'm not sure I should. I'll share the story. This will be fun.
Okay.
So, and it's going to be on the podcast. So, this will be extra interesting. So it's so funny. So I tend to go whenever I travel out west. I always try to take advantage and see as many friends or family as possible.
Sure.
And so I would go out to this conference in California, and it would be in LA. And I grew up, was born in the Central Valley, so I'd have friends down a couple hours away. I went to undergrad at Vanguard.